What is up, guys? Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Dreams for more games, sculptures, and props that you can use for your dream. I'm Young Text YouTube on Dreams. Check out my channel playlist for individual tutorials on logic, sculpting, animation, music, and more. And if anything pops up up here, it's a tutorial that correlates with this video. And if it's that I'll stream it over here, feel free to pop into the stream. Alright, guys, so the Dreams PS4 tools. Let's go ahead and show you guys what you can do with them. This is my fighting game in Dreams. With the tools, you can learn how to do this kind of stuff, but you gotta like look up stuff like tutorials and stuff in order to be able to do that kind of stuff. But with the tools, you can make just about anything. There are limitations, but as you can see, the limitations are pretty small in my opinion. So with the tools, you can also learn how to, let's see here, you can learn how to sculpt things. I sculpt this right here. This is a character, and it's completely characterized. I might load it in once I start this up. I just wanted you guys to see it more thoroughly before we get into the tools. So right here you have your gadgets. These tools are the things that you'll be doing for programming your game. The yellow is pretty much math, but this is the most math that really you have to do. The greater than sign and the less than sign. You can use all this other stuff if you want to. It's pretty much these two. So if this top part is not what this part, you know, is saying, then it won't send out a signal to tell whatever you have it plugged into to blow up or something. That's pretty much the most math the yellow has. And you have your variables and your variable modifier, pretty much things you can label and specifically label those numbers to where if these specific numbers with names do something, then something will happen. That's pretty much this. You can even make health with it. Then you have your signal manipulator and your selector. These are pretty interesting tools. And then you have your fundamental tools right here. So if if you have two signals plugged into here and they're both going off, then a result will happen. And you can just hover above these things in order to get a description of what they're for whenever you're playing the game. I'll tell you the things that I usually use. I usually use the AND gate. I usually use keyframes, timelines. I don't even use the action recorder that much. So these are the gadgets that I use the most. Keyframes, timelines, variable modifier, calculator, signal manipulator, selector, AND gate, control sensor, tags, trigger zones. You'll need that for fighting games. Impact sensor, on-off switch, emitters. Like that's how you'll like make it to where effects come from your character if you want to. I sometimes use the force applier. Advanced mover. Sometimes use the follower. You can't always use the follower to get specific following. You have to do it like a more precise method, but it's really easy. It's just two gadgets to do that. It's the look at rotator and I think the mover, I'm not sure, something like that. You can get some kind of interesting follow mechanic. You'll be using the text displayer a lot. This is how you'll make your health bars. Text displayers, keyframes, and counters. That's pretty, you can look up my how to make health tutorial. It's pretty simple the way I do it. Doorways, this is how you exit and enter levels. Global game settings, you can mess with gravity and all sorts of stuff here. This is your score. You can use this if you want to. Blank puppets. This is actually how you make characters easily. You don't have to do the joints and connectors to create characters. You can actually kind of let's say we were to search for an arm, then we could make this the arm, and then we could like kind of make this invisible, and then it'd be like, you know, this part's invisible but the other part's there, and then this part would control that, if that makes sense, because they're grouped together. That's how you easily make characters. Pretty simple. So if you have sculptures, you can apply that method. Look up my how to remix characters videos for a better breakdown on that. That way you can easily make your characters. Camera pointer. I usually use the camera pointer. This is something that I use a lot. So inside of the puppet, the reason it's activating is because the puppet has a control sensor. And the control sensor comes with its own built-in camera. The camera pointer works off of this. So you can easily make isometric games, 2D view games, over-the-top games using this method. And that's pretty much all you need to get your camera views. You just want to make sure that it is on possessable. If you're doing that, I think you can do something with the sticky option and remote, maybe. But for the most part, you want this on possessable and force possession so you don't have to manually use your character. Let's see here, the puppet interface. So this is kind of important. You'll always be using this for characters. The left stick is plugged into the walk, and that's how you get your animations once you have all the connectors and stuff connected. If you're unless you're using the my method of how you make characters like that, you know what I just said earlier, then this is how it instantly programs the walk. So the jump animation is all right here inside of a puppet interface. If I was to L1 and square, I can quickly edit those, right? So watch this. So we're actually editing that keyframe whenever we're clicking quick edit. Then you can mess with all your settings right here, speed, how it moves when it runs. That's pretty much what all this stuff is. You want to turn this down and turn this off to get rid of motion controls. And then usually, whenever you have punch animations, you want to turn this one off with a keyframe. You don't want it to be off the whole timeline. You just want it off long enough to where, let's say, the punch was this long. Then you want this to be off just as long underneath the punch. That way there's no walk animation while you're punching. That's pretty much how you can fix animations. Another thing that works with animations is your built-in hitbox. This is not the hitbox that you want to use for fighting games. This is the hitbox you want to use for wall detection instead. And you want to make it pretty big so you don't get the game maker glitch. You don't want to make it too big though. But this can also affect your animations, so mess around with it whenever you're animating. Labels and collisions. If I had this like this, and let's say another object was labeled machine, not this one, then it wouldn't collide with it. But if that other object, if this object was a machine like it is now, and the other object was a friend and it said to collide with machines like what this is now, then it would still be able to collide with it, but it'd be kind of clippy, so you kind of have to mess with that, because if the wall is like that at the bottom, then it can have some disastrous effects, you know what I'm saying? You want to mess around with that. So back to the tools. The simple breakdown on tools. Here's your camera. Put cameras inside of timelines so they're only active while the timeline is on the, going through it. Camera shaker, lights are important. Pretty simple. Just do it like that, or you can even put a lot of these gadgets in timelines. Wiper, how you get your screen completely black. Put this at 0, 0. Make it active, completely black. You can put text inside of timelines. You can go to the timeline, set it to once or that, or even mess with the animation speed for fighting games. You might want to turn that up. So that way, if you don't want the text display to be displayed throughout the whole game and just a certain part, that's how you do that. So it's only playing through cutscenes. You can look up my how to make cutscenes tutorial, how to make combos tutorial, how to make lives, how to make health bars, how to make fighting games, how to make 2D games, and etc. if you need help. These are the joints and connectors. This is your mix and master, turn down stuff, and other things up here. Most important would be mix and master. Right here you have your ability to sculpt. It's pretty much how you make 3D models like this. These are your flicks. So every object is made up of a flick instead of polygons like other games, as you can see as we get closer in. So this is how you change your graphical detail to make it more high resolution. You just go to sculpture detail, hit this once, then press R2. And if you have it on minus, it'll reduce it. Oh yeah, just make sure you're not scoped in. I'll explain scoping in next. So now it's at the highest resolution it can be. So you can see we could see less of the flicks. And that's pretty much what it's doing. So the closer we get into it, we would see more. But the higher the resolution, that it pretty much makes it to where the closer you are, the cleaner it looks. Which is why it takes up graphical detail. Down there we have a thermometer. You can only have 100% of everything before you can't save anymore. So if this was at 100% and these two were at like 2 or something, then we wouldn't be able to save. Same goes for the other ones. Graphics are pretty much this, or any other 3D model that you put in your game. How do you animate? Here's the easiest way to animate. Click this, then press L1 and X. This is how you scope in. Then do this. Then you want to have a blank keyframe in the beginning. Then what you want to do is click both of them. Press L1 and square after you have them selected. And then rewind it, press circle so nothing up here is selected, play. And it's as simple as that. You can even upsize it by holding the up arrow. Do stuff like that. You can change the transition type up here or keep changes. If you're keeping changes, you can actually record variable number changes like the math and the yellow, or you can even record turning stuff off like this or like this. Pretty much with animating, it's easy. The only thing that you're gonna have trouble with in the beginning is getting used to the controls. It's not the fact that animating is hard, it's just getting used to the controls. Honestly, that's all it is. But it's as easy as this. Watch this. I'm pressing R2 or L2. Then I'm going to the side, seeing where this is. It's not even hard. Look at that. And then sometimes you'll want to press R2 to do stuff like this really quickly. And that's pretty much it with animating. This isn't going to be a good animation, but press circle, let me scope out. Press play. Oh, it's because the timeline is not on power. That's what it is. I'm not sure what it is, but that usually doesn't happen. We're just going to pull out a different timeline. Sometimes confusing stuff can happen. If that happens, just, you know, I don't know. Oh, it's because the one in the beginning is, I guess, powering it off. I don't know. Press triangle. You can press triangle on the buttons to reset your keyframe recordings, whatnot. If that didn't do it, then we're just going to move on to the next part. But trust me whenever I say it's easy. So here's your grid snap options, studio lighting, precise move, grid snap, obey guidelines, and other stuff up here to see invisible microchips, press X-ray mode, invisible trigger zones, invisible things, invisible electronic. Pretty much, that's pretty much what this is doing. Thermometer, etc. Then right here we have sound mode, stylized mode. I have tutorials for those, so check those out. So we're going to go straight to sound mode. This is the last thing we're going to talk about. This is how you record with a microphone. Put down a timeline. And then, let's see here, where is it? This is how you search for instruments and stuff that you can put inside of here. And you're going to look up my music tutorial on how to make music. But that's pretty much it. Don't forget to subscribe. I hope you like my breakdown on the tools in Dreams. Tell me if this helped, and peace out, peace out, peace out. Check me out on Dreams. Follow me there. I'm Young Tech's YouTube on Dreams.